Welcome everyone. This is DMSTFY Insider, where we demystify everything in Web3 with real-life stories and some of the coolest projects on the blockchain. We share everything behind the scenes, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Today, we have Berwin from EKTA. Hi, Berwin.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing really good.
Good to
Good to
be
have
here.
you. Yeah, really good to have you here. So as we said, we dig deeper. We try to get the stories about people, about the projects. So just to kick off, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know on your Twitter bio, you say you lived Web 1 like Rebel, skipped Web 2, and now you're rocking the Web 3. What's that all about?
Yeah. My background was in technology in the 90s. I had a dot-com startup. We did a lot of virtual debit card payment processing. So back in the days in Asia, a lot of people didn't have credit cards. So I created a virtual debit card that you can use in Web 1, basically, so you can purchase things in the internet like in Amazon or eBay. And then was able to exit that business after a NASDAQ listing. And then, so I completely skipped Web 2. So after the 90s, in the turn of the millennium, I became a property developer because that was my passion. So I did that for the next 22 years. And then, so totally skipped Web 2. And then the pandemic happened. Mm-hmm. As a property developer, without any tourists coming to Bali, I had to stop all my building projects. I had to shut my hotel, and I need to figure out what to do. I need to pivot my business because real estate without any tourists and without any clients and the world shutting down is not good for me. So I figured out a way to tokenize property, and so basically I read 200 white papers, learned about Web3. And here I am. So EKTA was born during the pandemic. It was the brainchild of the pandemic. I was able to, EKTA means unity and integrity, because I was, after studying Web3 and learning about it, I learned the good, bad, and the ugly of Web3. And I learned that to make it successful, you need to hit mass adoption, just like the internet. In the 90s, and mobile, you need to hit 1 billion customers. Without that, it's pointless. So I'm like, okay, let's create a Web3 business where you can tokenize real estate, make it more liquid, but also bridge it to the real world so I'm bridging Web 2 to Web 3. Mm-hmm. So I called it EKTA because EKTA means unity and integrity. And I said, okay, unity and integrity because I want to profit with purpose, and Web3 can do that for a lot of people. It solves a lot of problems that Web2 couldn't solve. And so, EKTA was born.
Beautiful. I love that story. Yeah. And I mean, you only mentioned one part, right? Tokenizing the real estate. But I know you guys are way more than that. Can you give us a rundown on what you're actually doing?
Yeah, so EKTA is a layer 1 blockchain. We launched this world, and we profit with purpose. So everything we have to do has to do with improving people's lives or fixing the environment. So our layer 1 blockchain is the foundation of everything. On top of that is our NFT marketplace, which is live already. We have a hybrid exchange that serves as our DeFi and exchange for our entire ecosystem. And we have a metaverse called MetaTrees. It's a tree in the virtual world, and then it goes to preserving rainforests and plants and trees in the real world. So basically, that's like EKTA layer 1 blockchain is the foundation, and then those 3 things are the pillars. And because we're bridging real world assets to Web3, we also have an island. So we have an island called EKTA Island. So what we do is we do everything we're doing in Web3 in the metaverse. We're also doing exactly the same thing in the island. So it's like a twin. It's a twin. How do you call that? Like a twin universe where we do something virtually and we do something in real world. We try to help people improve their lives. So we have a blockchain school there. It's really for all the protocols as well. So there's a few protocols and a few NFT communities building together with us in the island. The tree planting game in the metaverse is also there. We have a Meta Tree Spark over there, and there's a few a few protocols building together with us. Like one of it is like Mad Meerkats. They have a tree house in the metaverse, so we're actually building a tree house in the forest over there. There's another game called Sprouty. It's like a farming game. So they actually have a Sprouty farm next to our forest. And then of course we have like 385 honeycomb ponds. It's like these capsule hotels in Japan, but we put the capsules on the mountain and with a beautiful sea view. And then in the evenings, there's LED lights, and so it looks like blockchains moving. So yeah, everything has to do with blockchain and Web3, but bridging into the real world.
That's beautiful. And when you say, like obviously you guys are building this whole ecosystem, why did you guys decided to like, launch your own blockchain, and how is that even going to work? Because why didn't you build this on top of another blockchain currently existing?
Yeah, because I'm crazy. Everyone says you're crazy.
Right.
Why did you do that? I did it um, because I have a few islands and a lot of land and property in my portfolio. I thought, okay, if I try to create, so if I build my own layer one blockchain, I'm kind of like building my own micronation, and then I have my own island as well. If I can do that in three in the metaverse and then do something in the real world, I can create my own micronation and I can start building something new. So everything that went wrong in web or what's wrong in the real world, I can try to improve that and create my own community in my own country, sort of. So I started my own layer one because of that, because I can like kind of control my own destiny, move. For example, if I build on Binance Smart Chain, if CZ switches off Binance Smart Chain, then I don't have a chain anymore. But with our own chain, I know I'm guaranteed that I can control everything. Not control, but make sure that everything goes smoothly.
Yeah.
And create my own community, create our own followers. Everyone that was not happy with their lives, I can hopefully improve their lives that way, and no one can shut me down.
Yeah. And so how are you going to do that when you say, okay, no one's able to shut it down? How is that going to work? I know you guys have an interesting approach to that. You want to tell?
Yes. Yes. So when we started our chain, we only had 16 nodes. I'm like, okay, I have 16 nodes, so we're actually not very decentralized. And I'm like, how do I make myself more decentralized, but like share it with everyone and not do it everything myself? Because then that's Web2 again. So we launched. We're always trying to do new things that no one's ever done. So we launched an NFT project called Portal, and the Portal NFT is basically an NFT that you mint, and we ship you a physical node. And this physical node is a supercomputer that can mine tokens. And one of the things it does also, it's an endpoint node that helps EKTA become more decentralized. So we have 10,000 of these nodes that we're minting in the end of next month, the end of September. And once you have this NFT, we also ship you this physical node. So we're going to have 10,000 of these nodes shipped all over the world. So we're going to be actually one of the most decentralized chains in the world. And, we're not relying on just AWS. We're actually deploying our own nodes. And yeah, this is a really good, this is an amazing innovation that no layer one's ever done. We ship, you mint an NFT, we ship you a physical node, and we reward you with EKTA every day for the next 10 years. And you can mine any other token if you like, as long as it's EVM compatible. So if you want to upgrade from our node, you can even mine for Ethereum. It's just so much value. You can earn like thousands and thousands of dollars every year with for as little as 0.4 Ethereum when you mint this.
That's really, I feel like that's one of the biggest innovative things in the space that I've actually seen. So I was really curious to learn, like, how did you even guys came up with this idea? Like, why haven't no one else done it yet? I mean, we all talk about decentralization and we all run it on Amazon services, right? So just interesting, how did you guys come up with this?
Um, Fortunately, we have a lot of great thinkers in our team. We started off with me and a co-founder. We were two, and then we became six, and now we're over 90, almost 100 people in the team. And we have a lot of like kind of like rebels that don't want to live where they
Sure.
come from all over the world, and they have all these great ideas. And we always have like teams like strategy meeting every week to come up with new products. And yeah, we have this really cool American team. They're so young, they're like 19 to 20, and they're really, they think out of the box. And me, I'm a little bit crazy, so I'm like, okay, is this any great ideas, anything that will change people's lives, anything that no one's ever seen before? And if you have it, tell me and let's deploy it. That's the whole point of having my own layer one blockchain. So
Sure.
that's what, because I can do anything I want. Yeah, so we have other really cool innovations like our tree planting game. It's the first ever tree planting game with carbon credits in the NFTs. And these carbon credits, I want to hit mass adoption with gaming, and I want to save the planet at the same time. So when I was in COP26 in Scotland last November, there's a lot of people complaining about like greenwashing corporations like buying carbon credits to offset, and then they can pollute more. I'm like, and then they said there's not enough demand for these carbon offsets. And these carbon offsets are great because it goes to preserving rainforests and planting trees. I'm like, how can I hit mass adoption with this? I'm like, I live in Asia. There's only two things people do when they're on their phone. Everyone's on their phone. They're either on TikTok and playing games. I'm like, why don't I create a tree planting game with carbon offsets in it? And so, like we're just like constantly thinking about crazy things like this.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, you got to be a little bit crazy, right? You got to be a little bit crazy in order to come up with new things. So that's really, yeah, I really appreciate that. And like it seems like you guys, you have all these different areas, and like you have the nodes, you have the NFTs, you also have a token, right? But I've noticed that let's say you go to Coin Market Cap, it says EKTA V2. Could you tell us a bit more about that? What does V2 mean?
Yeah.
What was version one?
V2 means V2 means our former CTO rugged us. So
Oh,
we got rug pulled by our first CTO. He was that. So we launched V1. EKTA V1 was launched in August last year. We were doing really well, and our token price was going up. But October of last year, when I was in the conference in Dubai, the crypto conference, I signed a really big deal. I signed with a Philippine company to do like online remittances and play to earn games for 29 million people. And then after I signed the deal, I went up to the conference. I looked at our price. It was like it was like $10, and it dropped to like not even 1 cent. It was like a Terra Luna. And
right.
then I'm like, what happened here? And then so I did a forensic, and I got our security team to check what happened, and we found out it was our CTO that rugged us. So that was V1. It was the worst day of my life in October. And I came out in public and I said, listen, guys, I'm not going anywhere. Normally in this space, there's no regulation. So, no one fixes it. You can walk away. I didn't walk away. I fixed it. It cost me $4 million to do it. I went public. I talked to the community. I said, listen, this is what happened. Our CTO rugged us, but I'm here. I'm the founder. He's not the founder. And I believe in EKTA. Our business model is sound. Our vision is sound. It's just there was one bad actor. But I'm gonna fix this, and I did. So I relaunched our chain. I relaunched our chain. I migrated our token to another contract, and by December of last year, I was able to relaunch EKTA V2, list our new token in SushiSwap and 3 other centralized exchanges: LBank, Probit, and MEXC. And I told everyone there was a problem with our bridge also in October last year. So I launched a new bridge that is bridging EKTA to Finance Smart Chain and Ethereum. And we didn't have a blockchain browser. I launched a blockchain browser. It's called EKTA Scan. And yeah, and then I said, here, it's the new and better version of EKTA. And I beefed up our security. So we didn't give any control to anyone. So no one in EKTA has any control. No, not one person has any control. It always has to be 3 out of 5 signatures. And we have a security team scanning our chain like every day, and a major scan every week, and we do audits on every contract we deploy now. So yeah, so EKTA V2 is a leaner, better version of EKTA V1. No one has control of anything. Security is beefed up, and I gained a lot of trust from the community and a lot of followers because I literally promised what I said, and it's not just me; it's our entire team that was there during the crisis, and it was very hard, but we did it.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, props to you, like in decentralized world, you rarely hear these type of stories, right? If there's a rug pull, the whole kind of thing just dismantles and everyone just forgets about it. So, a lot of respect for you, like sticking to your ground and saying, okay, I'm gonna continue with this no matter what happens, we can fix it. So I think, like talking about the companies who will survive and who will sustain in the future, I think like these are the qualities that people are looking for, right? So like now people can trust you, like, okay, these guys, they've lost everything, but they risen up like a phoenix, from the ground up again, and they're stronger. They've learned the lessons, right? Because it's all about learning too, right? It's all about, okay, how can we not make more mistakes like that, and how can we improve? So I really
Yeah,
appreciate that. Yeah. And so what do you think, like what were like the biggest challenges? Now, like, you've learned all these, like, obviously these are the biggest, like, big, um, you know, not I wouldn't say traumas, but like it's a big thing, right? Like your whole company just gets rug pulled, all the liquidity goes gets pulled out.
yeah,
What were like the biggest like learnings and challenges that you kind of came around from this?
yeah. Trust no one, because I'm a very trusty person. I do like honesty system,
Yeah.
but in the Web3 space, because there's no regulation and people hide behind their avatars, so
Yeah.
you trust no one. Always do double checks, triple checks, know KYC, KYB. Number two is manage your time properly and be ready for anything, because you can. It's like I went to Scotland, and the Scottish people say, you have to bring a raincoat, an umbrella, a swimsuit, and whatever, because you can have 4 seasons in 1 hour. In blockchain, you can have like, 10 changes in one day, and get ready for that. So prepare for change and be flexible. And third is manage your time properly. And you have a lot of ambitions, but make sure you can manage your expectations. So I have an Eisenhower metric matrix. So in my Eisenhower matrix, I always look at the top left, important and urgent. So if it's not important, urgent, put it on the other, on the other part of the matrix. And so I just do it one thing at a time. Is it important? Is it urgent? If it's not, don't try to multitask. Just focus on what you need to do and launch it, because there's so many things you need to do. So yeah, these are the three things that are really important.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I think like these are important, just not even in Web3, but also in Web2 businesses. Like I think you come from that background where you understand, like, okay, these are really valuable things to follow. And when it comes to actually, like, you say bridging the gap between the Web2 and Web3, why do you think brands should even care about Web3, right? You're a real estate developer. Why didn't you just stay with, the old way? Why would people should care about
That's a
making
really
this
good
step?
question. Yeah, that's a really good question. A lot of people ask me about this. A lot of the problem with Web2 is it's completely centralized. It's not tokenized. So, for example, if you're a gamer in Web2, you just keep paying the gaming company to buy avatars or weapons, and you can't take that with you. Once they shut down the game, you lose everything that you spend on. In Web3, for example, you can tokenize that avatar. You can make it an NFT. You can take it from one universe to the next universe. You can sell it if you want, or you can leave a legacy, and people will know that because everything's on chain. There's no cheating. It's there. It's published in the chain. It's in the IPFS. For property, it's the same thing. Everyone thinks I'm just doing a REIT, a real estate investment trust, or a timeshare. I'm like, no, it's not that. you're really improving people's lives and you're really helping the real estate developer. So if you're a real estate developer and you want to develop, let's say, 25 villas here in Bali and you don't have the capital, what you do is you start doing fractional property NFTs. In Web 2, you can't even get a loan from the bank, you can't get funding, and you don't get royalties. In Web 3, if you're a property developer, you can say, okay, I worked the last 10 years to build my brand. This is my architect. This is my interior designer. I want to reward them. So I raise funding through fractional NFTs. I raise the funds. The investor can invest for as little as whatever you want, $10, $100, and you're part of, you can start entering and investing into real estate that no one could do in Web 2. The real estate developer at the same time can build his development and then start, trading these NFTs like 3-4 times a day. Like, how many properties do you buy a year? Once, maybe one property every 10 years. This one, you can buy property every minute, every hour. And as you do that, you get royalties, just like NFT art gets royalty. So let's say the developer puts 2.5% royalty. He gets this for the rest of his life. So that's one thing that you don't see in Web 2, earning royalties forever. Another thing is you compensate and you help the people that help you build the property, who created the property, like the architect, the real estate, the interior designer, the landscape architect. All of them can have a royalty splitter as well. So with music, it's the same thing. So a lot of the problem with music, let's say the labels, you normally take everything, or Spotify takes 80% of all the revenue. With decentralized music, Spotify Web3, for example, the artist gets most of the thing, and you can split. So if you have a song, you have the vocals, the lyrics, the drum, the beats, the synthesizer, you can actually split that in a smart contract. And every time they play the music, it goes to all the right artists and the right creators.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. I mean, it sounds really, like idealistic, right? Like to have this, live on this world, that would be, beautiful if we can actually get to that stage. So I think people like you, who are building these type of technologies and being a little bit of crazy to even step out and say, hey, we can actually do this. So like I really, gets me excited, it gets me really excited to see like, okay, we can actually do this and we have the technology and we can, build out these ecosystems.
You know what? Those portals that I'm doing,
Yeah.
it's not just decentralizing the nodes. It's going to be a decentralized music player after, because it's a file sharing thing. And so I can do Spotify Web3 and help the artists
Okay.
earn. So for example, if you're an artist and you have 1 million downloads in Spotify, you only earn $400 from that. If you use our decentralized music file sharing player, the artist will get $50,000 for 1 million downloads. So we're really helping improve people's lives.
Okay. I don't think I've seen this anywhere on your socials, so maybe this is a little bit of a
No, this is alpha. This is alpha.
Okay.
Right here.
Great, love it. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I appreciate it. And well, I've been following you guys for a bit now on your socials and your website, and I've seen that you've closed quite a big funding round. So is that where
Yes,
the money
we
will
did.
go into, like projects like these, or what are you planning to do with that
Yeah.
investment?
So that was very fortunate. I think a few VCs have been following what we've been doing, and I think because of the crash of Terra Luna, people started understanding and realizing that these 8 to 20% returns from a stable coin is not sustainable.
Yeah.
Because it's coming from nowhere. So it's like a Ponzi scheme.
Sure.
What they saw with EKTA is we're actually bridging real world assets and giving you a stable return with that. So I call it stablecoin plus. So if you have a real estate NFT, for example, these NFT goes up in value every year. A USDT stablecoin doesn't do that. It's one this year, it's one next year, it's one the year after. With our real estate NFT, it can be one this year, next year is 1.2, the year after is 1.4. And then every month and every year you get like between 8 to 20% rewards. but these rewards are real rewards from rental income. So it's not a paper reward. So they saw that, and they invested $60 million into it's an investment commitment actually. So I have that there if I need it. It's 60 million. It's really good, and I haven't drawn down from that investment commitment. It's just there on the sidelines, because what I believe is if a business is doing really well, you don't need a lot of investors.
Right.
You can fund it yourself. So right now we're doing quite well, and we're funding everything ourselves. If I draw that down, I will need to give our tokens to them, and I'm trying to make sure that there's less tokens in circulations so that we have a healthy tokenomics. But I think when we launch our marketplace and our centralized hybrid decentralized exchange, we might need liquidity. So I might draw from that. But it's just there.
Gotcha.
It's good to have, especially during a bear market. But sure. I haven't touched the funds.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. That's really good to know. I mean, it's always, if you need support, you have that. That's really good. And when it comes to, let's say, a lot of people might be watching this and they're new in the industry. There may be new founders. What do you think, what are some of the tips and advice for people who are looking for an investor, or like to get their project off the ground and get funded? What do you think are the key items that they need to be looking at?
That's a very good question. I think, first of all, it needs to solve a problem. So you find a problem, you have a solution. I tell to a lot of people, if you want to make an investor look at you, you need to first find a problem for 1 billion people and then solve that problem, because then it's $1 billion project. If you're solving a problem for 1 million people, that's $1 million project. If you solve a problem for 1 billion people, it's $1 billion project, and VCs will look at it. Another thing, it needs to be profitable. It can't be like, it needs to be sustainable. So sustainability is not just the environment. Business has to be sustainable. So if you solve a problem for a lot of people and it's sustainable in terms of business, then an investor, and it needs to be unique. You can't copy things. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No, it makes sense. And I mean, if you look at the current industry of NFTs and Web3, there's a lot of just copy of a copy of a copy type of thing, right? So you need to be innovative.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you guys stand out, because, even just having those nodes, like I was like, hey, like no one has ever done this, like I haven't heard about it. So I think like, yeah, you guys are, on top of your game for sure.
Thank you. And we're from Bali, right? I want to make Bali proud as well, and Indonesia. I'm not Indonesian, I'm not Balinese, but I've been living here for 13 years, and Bali is such a great island for innovators and for entrepreneurs. We're from, like, you can sit at a table and have dinner, and there's 20 people, and they're all from 20 different countries, and we're all trying to disrupt the world and think of great things. And so, like, our layer 1 blockchain is a Bali company. And all our nodes, we're building it here in Bali. Everything we're doing, I want to make, I don't want to say, oh, made in China or made in everywhere else in the world. I'm like, I want to make it in Bali, and I want to say it's made in Bali. We're from Bali, and this is Bali, and this is why we're unique.
That's epic. Yeah, I mean, I resonate with that a lot. I'm from Bali myself. I've been living here for a while, so I understand.
I know, it's so crazy.
It's time to you need to give back.
When I meet up with people from Bali in other countries, and they're like from Germany, from Australia, from Philippines, from China, from Singapore, and they're like, where are you from? We're like, we're from Bali. And like everyone looks at us like,
yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, this makes me really excited and really positive about the future. When I hear all these things, it's it looks like the future is bright for Web3. How do you see where the Web3 is going, and how is that going to evolve in the future, like from your own like perspective or vision?
Yeah, it's moving in the right direction now. So last 2 months ago, when Terra Luna collapsed, and Three Arrows Capital, Celsius collapsed, and all the other like it's like Web3 1.0, NFT 1.0, DeFi 1.0. It's moving to a direction where you're bridging real world assets. into Web3. So the innovation is happening now where you can't just do a metaverse. You need to have a twin of the metaverse. You need to have a real world twin of everything. So it's moving to asset back, anything asset back in DeFi, anything asset back in NFTs is going to work in the next few years.
Great. I mean, I think we're finally bridging that gap, right? We're finally bridging the real physical world with the Web3, and yeah, I think that's where it's all
And
headed.
yeah, we need to hit more mass adoption and make it easier for newbies to use the Web3. So I mean, the internet didn't really kick off until we had 1 billion users. Mobile phone apps was the same. That the apps didn't kick off until there were 1 billion mobile users.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the same with Web3. You need 1 billion users to really, kick off this thing.
Yeah, we're just in the beginning stages for sure. Yeah.
Very
Awesome.
early.
I mean, thank you for sharing all of this. I think we can end on this high note, on this exciting future. And if you want to share, where can we find more about you guys? Follow you on Twitter. Give us some details on that.
Yes. Thank you so much for today. It was a really good interview, and you can learn more about EKTA at ekta.io, ekta.io, and then if you go to our social links there, you can follow us in Twitter at EKTA Chain. You can also go to our Discord and Telegram. But yeah, follow us in our socials and get all the updates from there. And Discord, we have an alpha group as well. So you can learn more than you get a lot of tips and insights that no one knows in our alpha group.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing all the alpha. Thanks for sharing all the vision and the craziness behind it. Really appreciate you. And this is what Demystify is all about. We try to tell the stories, connect with the people, and learn about, and build the Web3 and the future of it. So thanks, Berwin. Thank you for joining us today. And catch up with us next week.
Bye.
Bye.